Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of uranium. I did this a little bit earlier in the day, just because that's when I have time, and you might see something released because I'm doing a clip with Patrick Karam and Kevin Wadsworth. So we're going to get together and do some chatting, give you my opinion on it. But here's the daily technical analysis on uranium. Again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't use this as advice. So let's jump in, and I'll give you my opinion on uranium. Looking at the physical price, we are rolling over a little bit here. It's not too bad in terms of percent value, but we could roll over a little bit. It's getting a little tired looking. And we're seeing that with URNM. This is the ETF. I'm going to throw the resistance line, and we did not break the resistance line, and we're pulling back off that resistance line a little bit. And we could go lower. So let's be patient here. I'm not doing any selling. We're right up on that resistance line, and we've been making higher lows the entire time. So I suspect we make a higher low than $50. So this could pull back anywhere in here. And I'm not ruling it out. Looking at the dailies, we are pulling back 5% today. And it's a pretty strong down day. It's closing strong if it closed here. So we could see a little bit more of a pullback. And we're seeing that Camco, it came down. We're holding steady in terms of Camco with the opening and closing price. That's why it looks like this little sideways mark in this down day. So it gapped lower in the morning and stayed there. It traded throughout the day up and down, but it's basically closing where it opened. So that doesn't look horrible. Next gen, it's got a little bit more momentum coming to the downside. I do think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. Fission supporting that view with a little bit more of a pullback. It's ending strong, pretty big down day. So the sellers are winning here, obviously. And we're getting some cabbage hands probably falling out at this because they don't like seeing down numbers in their account. This one's got that bearish piercing pattern right here, and we are heading lower. And I do think this is going to continue potentially because we're ending the day with an opening and closing price that's finishing downward. Alaska is doing the same thing. It's finishing pretty strong in relationship to its day, so we are getting that pullback. Pure Point Uranium, we're kind of just moving sideways. This was a stronger stock, so it's looking like it's holding up a little bit stronger in terms of the technicals on it. I'm just going back to Alaska to see where support is. We've got a whole bunch of support underneath, so I'm not too worried about these falling too bad. Base low is actually holding its ground for the overall sector and what it's doing and kind of the setup here. So maybe we can find some some support under here. Standard uranium, again, it's following with everything else. It's selling off, and I do think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. We do have support running through this guy right here underneath it, so it's not too bad of a fall if we do have one. And I know that this is a gigantic fall for most people, but the volatility of uranium, you get used to it. Well, hopefully you should. Here's Azincourt uranium. This one's getting a pullback just like the rest, but we do have this uptrend line. We're right there at the 50-day as well. Denison Mines, it did not break through its resistance line. It's pulling back. We're going to have probably a little bit of a pullback. And we're seeing that across the board here. Uroy doesn't look too bad. We had a nice kind of buy up off this bottom here. That's what a hammer pattern looks like. And this could kind of bolt up a little bit tomorrow. But we're seeing weakness across. Another down day that's closing pretty strong. Another one with UEC. It's not this one. Let me see here. Draw this trend line in, and it's right there at the support line. We'll see if this thing breaks down and kind of loops back around, or if it pops right back up tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow brings us for this guy. URG, yeah, it's a down day. We've got support under here. I don't think it's going to go too far down. Bannerman looks a lot better. We're getting small contractions on the down days. It looks like we're trying to bottom out sometime soon here. And sometimes just be careful, because when you get to this support line, sometimes it blows through it to the downside if the overall sector is having continued weakness. So I wouldn't say that, yes, we're finding some support because the opening and closing prices are converging or merging here. But just be careful, because if the entire sector kind of washes out, this could wash out with it. So I don't know if I'd be a buyer per se. I'd have to see the overall sector kind of firm up before jumping in. And deep yellow doesn't look too bad. Nice small down day. It looks like we've got some support right underneath it. Forces Metals is starting to sell off a little bit. It's breaking through a little bit of support, but there's support all through here in the 85 cent up to 94 cent region. Goviak sold off really hard in the morning, but the momentum's carrying it back up. We're probably going to still have a pullback sideways motion in Goviak. I don't think this is just going to turn around and blow higher. And Global Atomic, this one looks like it wants to pull back, and I think it will pull back a little bit. How far down? You got support all through here at like 280. I think it could pull back to 280 potentially. A little bit of support in here at $3. International Consolidated Uranium, again, it's a good pullback day, and it's finishing strong, so I still think there's some more downside momentum in it, probably continuing into tomorrow. Kazatomprom, I mean, this one obviously forgot the memo that it needs to pull back, but looks strong, and it's holding its ground. UEXCF, again, this is a pullback, bearish engulfing, which means we could potentially pull back a little bit more over the next coming days, week. Laramide, bearish engulfing here, and here's our down day today, 9.21%. Looking at support, there's lots of support down here at 50 cents, and there's some support in here at 60 cents in this general vicinity. Peninsula is looking really good. It's just chopping sideways with a little bit of an up day, so that one doesn't look bad at all. That one looks actually pretty good. And Boss Energy looks pretty good. Looks like we're putting in a little flag pattern that could break either up or down. And Centrus Energy looks strong. It's holding its ground, moving sideways. A little bit of a sell-off with the wick at the top. There's some sellers up here. It's why the wicks are up there. So it trades up, it closes back down, trades up, closes back down, it sells back off. And then Lotus Resources, this is selling off quite good today and finishing pretty low. I still think we could have some downside, more downside in it. And Valera Metals looks like it's getting a little bit tired up here. There's a lot of sellers. That's why the wicks are at the top here. This could head a little bit lower. And I don't think we're going to have a blowout sell-off, but we could head a little bit lower. The overall sector looks a little bit weak. That's why we've got big down days. They're finishing strong to the downside. Would I be jumping in here on some of these? Probably not. I would wait. I'd like to see whatever these sellers have. Let's get it out of the system. Let's pull on back to whatever the resistance levels are, regather, and then move on up. And this is perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. It's just markets. And what you need to focus on, and what we have here, is we have higher highs, higher lows. That's an uptrend. And I don't sell when we have things in uptrends. Sometimes I don't even sell if it looks like it's rolling over and it's in a downtrend on the short term. Because I'm a big long-term value investor. If the value's there, invest in it, and the future for uranium is absolutely incredible. Short term could see some weakness. Medium term, the uptrend's still intact. Long term, haven't seen anything better in my life. That's how I sum it up. So yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit more short-term pressure to the downside. That's what I see in the charts. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.